I'm your host, Sav.
And I'm your host, DJ.
And today we are on episode 67, and this is FNC part 28. Getting on up there with the states. And today's FNC brings us to Vegas, baby! Nevada. Today we're going to be covering the murder of Tupac Shakur. And before we get into that, we have a couple of things to talk about. First being how you can support the show. If you love Deeper Than Most and you like to expand your mind with us, have a few laughs, have a few drinks, cheers, have a few cries, all that good stuff, then go ahead and leave us a rating or a review, whether that's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, or really just anywhere that you listen to our show. Let us know if you're fucking with us, and let us know if you're not as well. Also, comment on our YouTube videos. We love responding to your guys' comments, and make sure that you're subscribed to us on YouTube, because if you only listen to us audio, what the hell? If you only listen to our audio, you're really missing out on the visuals, and I'm gonna leave that there.
Before we get into this murder, we got a very interesting DOM for you guys this week.
Just one, because this shit is crazy and everybody and their mama is talking about it.
Yeah, it's been making rounds on the internet. So, CERN may be a cause for concern. So, what the hell is it? CERN began in the 1950s as the European Organization for Nuclear Research. Today, it is also known as the European Laboratory for Particle Physics. And I don't know shit about particle physics.
Sounds like a lot of science.
It's definitely a lot of science for sure.
Right.
Numerous experiments have been constructed at CERN through international collaborations. CERN is the site of the Large Hadron Collider, or the LHC, the world's largest and highest energy particle collider. Two main fears that surround the use of the Large Hadron Collider are black holes and the eerily named strange matter.
Stranger Things?
Speaking of that, a recent, I don't know if you guys know, but most people know that Stranger Things Volume 2 just came out a couple days ago, back on the 1st, and it's been sparking a very interesting conversation on the internet.
Oh, yes. Per usual, though. Why is CERN nightmare fuel? One of the LHC's goals is to simulate microscopic black holes that contain clues about the Big Bang. I'm gonna stop right there, because why? They don't need to do this shit. Just go to space and go through a black hole. Like, why are you bringing that shit onto our planet? That's a different story, though. Like, it's on our planet. A black hole on the planet?
It's gonna suck it up, the whole planet. It's gonna be gone.
Hearing this, with little to no technical expertise, it definitely sounds like a bad idea. For sure. Like, I don't know. There's just certain things that you shouldn't fuck with, and this is one of those. CERN is opening a multi-dimensional portal on July 5th. Sorry, but the day that we're filming this is July 8th. So, this shit been open, and that's why people have been seeing weird shit. And I know you guys have heard about the Chick-fil-A scandal. Chick-fil-A and another scandal, because they think that it never had a K.
Yeah,
and now it does. Yeah. So tell us what you guys think about that one.
Fuck that. You heard about that DoorDash glitch?
Yeah, I heard about that too. But to open the multi-dimensional portal, which they have already done, they used dark matter, writes one Twitter user. Internet conspiracy theorists suggest that new CERN experiments will open portals to hell and release demonic spirits. As if we ain't got those on here on this planet already. Like, what do you think an exorcist is?
Literally. And on top of that, like, they had these same little suspicions back in 2012 and 2016.
When they thought the world was going to end.
Yeah.
Some people believe it actually did.
Right.
But that's nor here nor there. Maybe we can cover that conspiracy theory one of these days. CERN basically responded by saying if anything bad was going to happen, it would have happened by now. And I don't agree. I don't think that's how it works. I think them motherfuckers come out when they ready, and that's that. Like,
yeah, cause shit just be happening. Like, natural disasters just happen. Like, pandemics just happened.
I swear to God, I'm so sick of it. I'm just so sick of everything that's going on this planet right now. Like, overall, not just here in the US, but there's just so much shit. And sometimes I think, like, how can it get worse? Like, what's next, you know? But I don't know, it just ceases to amaze me every fucking time something new is trending or is another threat to us and our rights, our humanity, our sanity. It's like, fuck. What more can we take? Like, damn, I feel like, and then now I'm starting to hear shit about this, I forgot where it's at, but I think it's here in the US. This volcano or something that's due to erupt because it erupts like every 620 years or something like that. And it hasn't erupted since like 650 something years. So we're due any fucking day. And it would wipe out the whole fucking world.
You're talking about Yellowstone.
Yes.
Out there in Wyoming. It's
Yes.
like literally on top of a fucking, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on, y'all. I'm just living day by day in the moment. Because that's all you can do. That was our DOM, all about CERN, because this shit has been trending, and I don't know, I feel like people just talking about it to get on the bandwagon. Like, for example, I'll tell people, you know, I'm always sharing the show on my social media, and I'll tell people, like, I talk about this stuff on my podcast with my co-host, and if you're really into this type of stuff, and you actually want to, like, learn certain details and learn more about specific topics, then check us out. And nobody does. So, but they're sharing all this CERN shit all of a sudden just because it's trending. So my whole consensus is coming to the point where I have realized people don't really give a fuck. They don't. It's all performative. But that's nor here nor there. So, with all that being said, let's get into Tupac. And speaking of Tupac, all eyes on me. Hey! I got my Poetic Justice shirt on, repping the legend. R.I.P.
Rest in power, my man. But now we're gonna get into Tupac before his fame. Tupac was born June 16th, 1971 in Brooklyn, New York. His full name is Tupac Amaru Shakur. His OG name was Lassane Parrish Crooks, also known as Tupac and Machiavelli.
AKA Tupac got hella names. So his original like name that he was, you know, that was on his birth certificate was Lassane Parrish Crooks. But I think a year after he was born, his mother changed his name to Tupac Amaru Shakur, because it was the same name as like a activist or a political figure or something like that. And then obviously Tupac gave himself the name. That was his rap persona. And Machiavelli, I don't know where that came from. I'm thinking that was like personal or his friends.
So Machiavelli, I don't know if it's like Roman, but it's like a old biblical times like figure that like faked his death and like came back and rebirthed.
People be thinking that he's not really dead.
Yeah.
We should do a whole Tupac conspiracy episode.
Oh, it'll be fun because there's a lot of things that are out there. Tupac's mother is Afeni Shakur, and she's a Black Panther Party member, or at least she was.
And with our Women in Power, she's one of the women that we will be covering because she is a powerful woman, and there is a reason why Tupac made a song about her.
Much of his childhood was spent on the move, settling in Baltimore, Maryland in 1986. Once there, Tupac attended the elite Baltimore School for the Arts. While in school, Tupac proved to be gifted and skilled both academically and creatively. He studied poetry, theater, and music.
I bet his mom was so proud. Like, just seeing all the things that Tupac was striving for. Hell yeah. Like, and those were things, the fact that he proudly like studied for poetry, theater, and music, like those are all subjects in school that people get made fun of for. Kind of like being a band kid or, you know, a theater kid. You get made fun of for those things. And to just know that like one of the OGs that everybody looks up to and loves, like a legend, was one of those kids.
All those art forms are very beautiful art forms, and I never understood why people would just be so against it. Like,
right. And the fact that he was into all of them was cool.
Before he could graduate, his family relocated to Marin City, California. I think it's Marin City, actually. Yeah. His family relocated to Marin City, California. The move to California led Tupac to run the streets, selling drugs and hanging with gangs. These experiences allowed for creative inspiration for his music in the future.
Hell yeah, you gotta live a life to tell a story. So, I mean, that's what he was doing. Living a life to tell his story. And he did it so fucking well. So now we're going to roll into the rise to the top. In 1990, Tupac joined Digital Underground, which is an Oakland-based rap group that had hit Billboard Top 40 with their hit The Humpty Dance. And in this group, he was actually a background dancer. So he danced too. Like, he did so many different art forms. He was very, very talented.
Speaking of which, R.I.P. to Humpty, like, OG, man, that shit is awesome. Like, I remember.
I don't think I know that dance.
You'll have to look it up, but it's pretty cool. And the main guy is pretty funny too. He has like, it's funny because like, you know, the gag where you have like the nose and the glasses.
Yeah.
That was his gag. Yeah.
Okay. Tupac performed on 2 Digital Underground albums in 1991. This is an EP release, and these are the 2 albums. So the 2 albums were called This Is an EP Release and Sons of the P. Before his solo debut, Tupacalypse Now, with Interscope Records later that year, this solo album resembled the sound of NWA or even Public Enemy. It did not get much radio play, but it sold very well.
Well, of course it wasn't gonna get no radio play. Look at.
Well, they said that from research, it was said that he didn't get radio play on that album because there just weren't any solo hits on the
radio hits on the album.
Yeah, exactly. That same year, Tupac gained more notoriety by joining the status of rappers turned actors, like Ice Cube, Ice-T, or even Uncle Snoop. I love Snoop Dogg. I love Snoop Dogg so much. Ice Cube, too. I don't really care for Ice-T, but...
Speaking of which, like, I've seen some of Snoop's earlier movies, and they're terrible, but it's just nice to see it.
Okay, what's your favorite Snoop movie, though?
Bones.
Okay.
You're talking
about a movie that he created or that he's in?
That he's in.
My favorite is Mac and Devin Go to High School. I fucking love that because I love Wiz Khalifa too, and just their energies together, unmatched. Tupac was casted in the well-known and loved movie Juice. Oh, I love that movie. It's a sad movie, to be honest. That shit teach you life lessons. But it's very, very good. If you haven't watched Juice, definitely recommend it. The following year, he dropped his second album titled Strictly for My Niggas, spelled with a Z, and joined Janet Jackson in the love drama movie Poetic Justice, which is, I feel like, a classic and a staple in the Black community. It's just one of those love stories that we love.
Hell yeah. And on top of that, man, he beat Buddy ass in that movie.
Oh, yeah. And on top of that, great pairing. Great pairing for that movie. His albums had a lot of activist lyricism, especially in songs like Keep Your Head Up and Holla If You Hear Me. And I love Keep Your Head Up. That's one of my favorite. I think that is my favorite Tupac song, actually. Dear Mama's good too, but Keep Your Head Up, like, it's just smooth. You used to hear that at the cookout, like, you know.
I can agree. I think that's one of my favorite songs by him too.
Hell yeah. Both of those songs made his second album. Both of those songs were basically like singles off of the album, which allowed him to get way more radio play, just because these songs had single feels to them. So that was pretty cool. Which definitely made him grow even more. I mean, shit, now you getting radio play? Ooh. With those hits, it's over. As his fame grew, so did the scrutiny for his lifestyle. He was convicted of sexual assault in 1994, and this was after surviving being shot 5 times. And he was incarcerated when his third album dropped, titled Me Against the World. And this album actually got released in 1995. And overall, Tupac served 8 months in prison with parole after the fact, because he was bailed out. We'll get into that once we get back from our sponsor.
See you soon.
Have you heard about Anchor? It's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free and easy to use.
It has creation tools that allow for recording and editing straight from your phone or computer. This means you can view your listener count, upload vidcasts, and personalize your show, making it the best user experience around.
Anchor will distribute your podcast for you to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many more, making it so you don't have to do it individually.
You can even monetize the podcast without minimum listenership.
Anchor has all the tools to make a podcast in one place, like adding files, sound effects, and audience messages.
So download Anchor today at anchor.fm, and that's anchor.fm, ANCHOR.fm.
So what are you doing? Start your own podcast now.
And we back.
Now we're going to get into where shit just takes a left. So we're going to get into Suge and Shakur.
After Tupac was released from prison, he signed to Suge Knight's Death Row Records. Suge had paid Pac's $1.4 million bail.
And that's why he only served 8 months and got parole, because his bail was 1.4 mil and Suge paid it. That's suspicious. I don't know. Like, for somebody to do something like that for you, you know you owe them. Like, period, point blank. Especially in that game and who he was fucking with, you owe him. And that's that.
His first release with the company was All Eyes on Me, which dropped in 1996, and this was his last album before his untimely death. This album was a 2-disc payment of homage to his thug lifestyle. This album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard charts and sold over 5 million copies in its first year.
That's insane. One album, 5 million copies in the first year. And I think now it's surpassed like 10 million, which makes a lot of sense. But man, that's insane. But I do like that he literally put his life like in his music. He was living the life of a thug and he rapped about that shit. And he was spitting real shit, like literally.
The success of his music made Tupac want to dabble back into the Hollywood scene. In 1996, he starred in Bullet, and in 1997, he starred in Gridlocked.
I haven't seen either one of those. Have you?
I've seen Bullet, and I think it's a pretty decent movie. I liked it. Around this time, Pac and Biggie had alleged beef over opposing views in their diss tracks, though both were huge successes in the industry. And man, that motherfucking beef between these two niggas.
Yeah. Now we move into shady shit on Suge. He founded, and this is like all about Suge Knight, by the way. He's the one that founded DRR, which is Death Row Records, and was known to use violent tactics to intimidate the competition. This seemed to work as he was able to catapult the stardom of Snoop Dogg, Tupac, and Dr. Dre, just to name a few. Suge was always in and out of prison for various crimes, including the one time he assaulted his girlfriend in the street and cut off her ponytail. Damn, that's some fucked up shit.
In front of everybody.
Yeah.
But why though? Like, why would you? Okay.
Suge's violent behavior came to the surface as a teen. He would target rich kids in the hills after school by grabbing them, putting them upside down, and shaking out their money. That reminded me of the Grove sisters.
This nigga like a damn.
Yeah, bully. He claimed it was easy pickings, and a year later, he would begin to steal their bikes. He stated that nobody ever stopped him. And the list of shit that Suge Knight is either accused or alleged of doing or actually did is so extensive. I recommend that you guys literally type into Google shady shit about Suge Knight, and you'll get, and type the what was the name of that one? Night Job or something?
It was NikkiSwift.com.
Yeah, and go to NikkiSwift.com and just scroll through the list. You're gonna be scrolling for a good 5 minutes at least, because it's so extensive. So Suge was not the nigga to play with.
At all. Now we're going to get into some very horrific events. The last night in Vegas. The evening of September 7th, 1996, Tupac was leaving a Las Vegas casino. That night he had just seen a prize fight featuring the heavyweight champion Mike Tyson.
Okay, can you explain what a prize fight is, if you know what that is?
So a prize fight is a boxing match between like big name boxers. It's probably like the title match or like
What is a title? I don't know what that is.
A title, like, so in boxing, they have, like, belts for each weight class. Like, you have a heavyweight class, you have, like, a welterweight.
Ones that they be holding up in WWE.
Well, yeah, sort of.
Them big ass belts.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's the same concept.
Okay.
But it's per, like, different class and shit. Yeah. But yeah, that night he had just seen a prize fight featuring the heavyweight champion Mike Tyson, which in this time Mike Tyson was the man. Like he was killing. He was killing it. That night, Pac was riding in Suge's car, a black BMW. In the car was Tupac, Suge Knight, and a few other associates. Then a white Cadillac pulled up to the right side of the car where Pac was seated. The shooting occurred at 11:15 p.m. when the car with Shakur stopped at a red light at East Flamingo Road in Colville Lane. Shakur was hit from a .40 caliber Glock 4 times, twice in the chest, once in the arm, and once in the thigh.
Now this is unconfirmed because there were also reports saying that he was shot in the hand, or like in the torso area and not necessarily his chest. So nobody really knows, but yeah, it's alleged that he was at least shot in the chest once, at least. And I'm pretty sure that was probably like the fatal shot.
Yeah, I believe so, actually.
And for him to survive getting shot 5 times before that, that's just very intense. That's got to be super traumatic to go through, for one. Surviving that, like, I don't know. But then to like go through it again and you don't survive the second time, it's like, wow. Exactly. I don't know, you just never know.
Exactly. This nigga was 50 Cent before 50 Cent.
Suge was only grazed by a bullet during the attack, of course, which really drives it home why people believe that he probably set this shit up. Many people believe that this was a hit by Crip member Orlando Anderson on Pac due to the gang rivalries in California that he participated in. Others believe it was Suge's doing, and I personally believe it was Suge's doing. The unknown number of assailants in the Cadillac got away, and the case has never been solved. Tupac was taken to a hospital, and this hospital was University Medical Center, and succumbed to his injuries 6 days following the shooting. His mother and girlfriend, Kadena Jones, were with him during his last moments, and if you don't know who Kadena Jones is, she was kind of like an it girl in Hollywood around the 90s. I think she was like a video vixen, or, yeah.
She was a video vixen.
Yeah, so, I don't know, just very sad all around. You can tell that, like, Tupac and his mom were always just very close, and he was very loved by her, and she was very loved by him, and I don't know, it's just sad.
It is.
He was so young.
Yeah.
Tupac was only 23 when he was murdered and only had a career of 5 years. That's so short. Like, when you think of the impact that he did in such a short amount of time, it reminds me of Selena.
Yeah.
Like, and Aaliyah. Like, just the things that people are able to accomplish, like, while they're here, it's insane.
And this is just over a span of 5 years. So imagine, like, what 10 or 15 or, like, 20 years could have been.
Exactly. He was cremated, and his mother said she scattered his ashes in Soweto, South Africa, the birthplace of his ancestors. This was on the 10th anniversary of his murder. And then he also had, like, some people in the rap game, I don't know if this was, like, confirmed or not, that said that they smoked, like, some of his ashes in honor of him. But you know how niggas be, so I don't know. But yeah, that was all about Tupac.
His life and his death.
A legend.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a legend. And now, we're going to get into our wind down. This time around, we have 3 of them. So the first one reads, do you believe the CERN conspiracies? And were you familiar with CERN before?
I wasn't familiar before, and yeah, I believe the conspiracies because it's not a conspiracy. That's literally what they're doing. They're opening black holes on our planet. Not in space, not somewhere in a land far, far away. No, here on America's green earth.
Wait a fucking minute.
I just want to say America's green earth because it sounds stupid and sounds like something an American would say.
I like that. Oh, fuck yeah. Man, they definitely over there in Switzerland. What the fuck? Yeah, nah, they definitely over there in Switzerland opening shit up.
Yeah.
Shit crazy. And no, I had no clue what the fuck this shit was before.
So wind down number 2. Seeing Suge Knight's past, do you believe he played a part or may be solely responsible in Tupac's passing? I definitely think he played a part. What part? I don't know. But he played one, for sure.
If he played any part, in my personal opinion, he's the one calling all the shots. Last and final one down, number 3. Growing up in an activist household, do you believe Pac would have had a huge impact on Black Lives Matter?
Ooh, that's a good question. Hell yeah.
Oh, he would have been pissed.
Tupac were alive. I feel like he would have gotten into that role. I mean, he did not limit himself whatsoever. He was a poet. He was an actor. He was a rapper, a performer. He was all of these things. And what would stop him from being an activist? He was an activist through his music alone, right, through his craft. Right. So clearly it was something that he was passionate about. Exactly. And speaking of Tupac and all this shit that's going on, and him having an impact, I just want to say I've been seeing this little TikTok going around about white women like making TikToks to keep your head up because of the whole abortion situation that's going on, and they're like proudly singing the song and like making it about them and abortion rights. When black women recently have been getting on TikTok just trying to educate and inform these white TikTokers and letting them know that Tupac specifically made that song for black women and black women alone, not for everybody else. So, and there were definitely white people like trying to argue this down. He made it for all women. No, he literally mentions in the song that it's for black women, and even in an interview about the song, he says that it is for women who look like his mother and his sister. And what are those women? Black women. So, the song's about black women. I just want to put that out there. Before we head out, we're going to send you guys off with some kind words and, of course, some more support. So what are your kind words?
It's okay to stay in your motherfucking lane, dude. Like you just said, that song specifically was for black women. And there are a lot of things that are specifically for black people. So I feel like, thank you. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate the fact that you guys do enjoy our music and our culture. But sometimes it's just for us to feel. Like, just let it be what it is. It's okay to be in your lane, and that's fine.
My kind words would be, don't let the lifestyle fool you. And I think I'm going to leave that up to the listener or viewer's interpretation, because this could pertain to any type of lifestyle. Don't let the lifestyle fool you. Because we always want what we can't have, and I think that it's important to know that sometimes the grass ain't always greener on the other side, and sometimes you don't learn that lesson until you live that other lifestyle. So, yeah. Don't let the lifestyle fool you.
Make sure you continue to support. You can follow us on Instagram at deeperthanmostpc. You can email us at deeperthanmostpc@gmail.com. Make sure you're following the official Facebook Deeper Than Most podcast page. Leave some likes, comments, ratings, and reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure you're telling your friends, your neighbors' friends, everybody, anybody. But honestly, how do you feel about this episode?
I think this episode was great, and I was really excited to talk about Tupac. I love Tupac, and I don't know, I just love everything that he stood for the black community, for women in the black community, and for music in the black community. Like, he was just a legend. Still is, and always will be, and I feel like that's a true testament to who he was and what his art did to the world, or did for the world.
Hell yeah. And in my personal opinion, I feel like the only artists that I've seen, that I've heard, that are even close to that, and this is like both of them. I feel like Cole and Kendrick are the only two artists that are remotely close to that ideal of what Pac was trying to do and what he could have done. But with all that being said, this has been episode 67, which means you have 66 other episodes to check out, including our short stuff bonuses. So what the hell are you doing? Go watch them. Go listen. And I've been your host, DJ.
I've been your host, Sav.
Catch us next week on
Deeper Than Most.